The other day I was in the kitchen alone after a shoot and there was some leftover steak. And I was looking at it and I was looking at it and I was like, what should I do with that? I want to make a new recipe. All of a sudden it came to me, a non-Asian stir fry. What do you think about that? Have you ever made a non-Asian stir fry? Neither had I. So I was thinking what kind of flavors would be good with that? And I thought, what about rosemary, garlic, and balsamic? And so that's what I did and it came out really well. I'm really excited to share with you this recipe that I created just for you. Delish. I'm starting with a pound of skirt steak that I'm slicing thinly. And I'm kind of cutting it at an angle across the grain, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch thick. You can use pre-sliced steak to save even more time. Skirt is great for this because it's so tender, or you can use a flank or any other inexpensive cut that you like. As with most stir fries, I'm doing everything prepped ahead so that I don't have to prep while I'm cooking because everything goes really fast. So you can season your steak ahead of time, set it aside. Then you want 4 cloves of garlic, thinly sliced. Instead of mincing, thinly slicing. I'm just going crazy here with my stir fry. I'm just not doing anything by the book, except for the prepping ahead part. For easy transport, I'm gonna add my garlic to my cutting board with my steak just so I can carry it back to the stove. Cut up 1 small head of broccoli for about 3 cups of florets. If you use too much, there's not gonna be enough sauce. And make them kind of small. You want them to cook quickly. Don't forget the stem, that part is good too. Peel the stems, because they're a little tough, huh? And then to serve with something even less traditional, polenta rounds. This is pre-cooked polenta that I bought at the store. I'm just gonna slice it into rounds. Super convenient product to keep in your cabinet. Just cut it into 1/4 to 1/2 inch slices. Spread it out on a baking sheet. Single layer, please. Drizzle with oil. That'll help it get nice and brown and crispy in the broiler. Season with a little bit of salt. And then I'm ready to start cooking. I don't know about you. Let's see if I can do this balancing act. I've prepped everything, but I don't have enough hands. Ah, I figured it out. Polenta can go directly in the broiler and just broil it until it's sort of bubbly and brown. My pan is preheating, nice and hot. Add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and then quickly add your steak. You can probably add it all at once if your pan is really big and really hot, otherwise work in batches. The key here is to not overcook it. It's skirt steak. You don't need to cook it that much, but you want to get a nice amount of browning on it. Put it in as close to a single layer as possible over a really high heat and leave it for a minute or 2. Once the steak is brown on the first side, you can turn it over. It should easily release from the pan once it's brown, as we've discussed in the past. I don't want to have to tell you again. I'm just kidding. I'm just going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it, so don't you worry. The steak is done. I mean, it's like a little pink in the center, but I don't want to overcook it and get it dry. So I'm going to take it out. It's got some caramelization on it. I probably could have used 2 batches. I'm not going to lie. I overcrowded for the sake of speed. Sometimes it just bites you in the butt, doesn't it? Now quickly add your broccoli. And then about 1/3 cup of water. This will just help the broccoli to cook through. Step back because it might steam up really fast. You want to cook it until the broccoli is bright green and the water has evaporated, which really doesn't take very long, especially in a cast iron skillet. I don't think I added 2 tablespoons of oil at the beginning, so this doesn't seem like it's really frying, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. It's your choice if you want to, you don't have to. Once it's bright green and softened a little, you can add your garlic, 2 sprigs of rosemary. These are actually kind of big, so I'm only gonna use 1. You wanna sort of break them up and sort of rub them together to release some of their oils, and then add them to the pan. Rosemary is a very strong flavor. It can be overpowering, so don't overuse it, but it's so great here. I love it. Add a 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. That's what's gonna make the delicious sauce for your steak. You might wanna turn your pan off at this point because it's gonna boil up and evaporate like that. Add the steak back into the pan with the juices. Maybe the juices first so they have a chance to absorb. And then the steak. Toss it around, and then the very, very final last step, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. This adds a really nice richness to the sauce and gives a little bit of gloss and mixes with and softens the vinegar flavor really nicely. And that's your dinner. You need salt. The salt balances out the acidity really nicely, evens everything out. Turn it off. Don't overcook it, otherwise it'll be tough and hideous. But if you don't overcook it, it's gonna be fantastic and succulent. Bubbly and broily. Let's serve. couple of crispy polenta rounds and some of your delicious steak and brocks. It's delightful. Spoon a little bit of sauce over the top. There's not a ton of sauce in there, but it's very flavorful and delicious. And there you have it. The most unauthentic stir fry you will ever have and love. I'm so unauthentic. It's authentically delicious. Italian style stir fry.